Things to do after you have an interview. Start with thank you number one. By the next morning, you want to send a thank you note to the person that interviewed you and anybody else you know that is in the process to let them know how interested you are and that you look forward to hearing from somebody soon. If they've given you a specific date where they'll get back to you, for example, where I'm going to get back to you in 2 weeks, that's when you send your second thank you. Thank you again for the interview a couple weeks ago. It's been about 3 weeks and I just wanted to follow up to see where you are in the process. So hopefully at that point, they've done a good job of following up with you and giving you a follow-up check-on date. And then the final way to follow up after the interview is to hold them to that check-on date. And that doesn't mean we'll get back to you by May 5th. You get back to them at May 5th at 9:01 a.m. But maybe May 7th, May 10th rolls around, and then at that point you check on them again and continue to keep the interest going. I can't tell you how many times where I have heard other people who've given up too early in the process, and they've only sent one thank you, and they've only checked once. You want to thank them and check with them, and then check with them one more time if you haven't heard back. Most recently, I had a organization that said a project would start in April, so I checked with them April 1st, it was supposed to start April 25th. They said, well, we don't have a firm date, check with us again in a few weeks. I gave them a week after the original date, so I checked with them the first week of May, and they gave me the new date, and now we're locked and loaded for a new project. So if I hadn't done that check-on after the thank you and the thank you, there wouldn't have been any follow-up work or follow-up response. So don't give up on that first try. Much like in sales where it takes multiple opportunities, if you really want a job, you've got to keep pressure, not necessarily pressure on, but you want to keep the conversation going and you want to make them aware that you want this more than anything else. One of the worries I hear when I explain this methodology to people is that it sounds a little pushy and pestery. So you want to avoid doing that. And I think that what I mentioned earlier about giving it a little bit of time, if they tell you 2 weeks, maybe you reach out in 2.5 weeks. So you don't want to send more than these 3 messages unless there's some kind of back and forth going. Especially if you don't hear from the person. You don't want to do a 4th message after you haven't heard from them. Now, if you haven't heard from them at all, it may be a sign that they're kind of pushing you aside, but at the same time, it's certainly up to you to determine where that pushy, pestery line is that you don't want to cross. So keep that in mind. You want to keep in touch with people, but you're going to come across pushy and pestery if they respond to you and within like 2 seconds you respond back. It's like you're sitting there waiting for your next reply. So be sure that you space out your messages, and just because they get back to you at 4 o'clock on a Friday doesn't mean you have to get back to them at 4:01. That can help you avoid being pushy and pestery. For more information on your job search, visit us at beyourstart.com to hear about our training and how we can fix your career through the Career Service Station.